Afternoon. How are we all doing? Sorry, I'm late. Was busy doing some testing. Completely lost track of time. I'm only 3 minutes late. Right. How's everybody? Afternoon, Ian, Monkey, Fletch, Kennelly, Jew, Julio, Hamza, Brian, JC, David, Gregors, Martin, Virginia, Prince Zulu. That is a good name. Afternoon. DAX today, rubbish. Afternoon, Mark. So we didn't basically get anywhere today. If you were in the live room this morning, we broke to the upside. And immediately after the upside break, we got literally long wick. So I exited the longs and left the shorts in place basically to see if we could trigger the shorts. And then we literally just went sideways for a little bit more, put another whacking great big wick in. So as soon as that bearish candle came in, I went short. We went absolutely nowhere. This was a 5 times top, not just a quadruple top, triple top, 5 times top, because it hit 3 or 4 times back there. And then we immediately flushed from it. So as soon as we pulled back into that propulsion gap, I added a second position and got out this morning there because I didn't have any faith in it. And I'm glad I did because it just pulled back. So literally we opened and that's pretty much where we are. So we didn't go anywhere on the DAX today. Still managed to squeeze $500 out of it, but useless today. So that was the DAX. US indices, fairly big move on the US in the pre-market. We've had quite a lot of stock earnings out this morning, which we'll go through in a sec, but I think that's mainly why we've had that movement. So NASDAQ came down quite hard. We've just tapped into that previous low, but bit of movement, nothing massive. So news this morning. We had Bank of England's Bailey talking and Mann. Mann said they would like to see the rates higher than they are now. So a little bit bullish for the pound. So we've had lots of talk from various Bank of England bodies. The only thing that came out of it was, I'd like to see the rates go higher. We kind of know that some of the board do want to see the rates higher. So it's not really a shock, but just confirms that there is more upside on the pound. We've had Baidu shares increasing. There's a couple of other shares coming out. So that's why we've had a little bit of movement in the indices, but nothing particularly exciting. Main news this morning, CPI for Canada. Mixed bag on that. We got the forecast on the monthly. The median came out as forecast. Slight drop on the trimmed. So the median and the monthly, median yearly and the monthly are what we kind of pay attention to, and they were as forecast. So Canadian dollar didn't really get much of a kick off of that. We did get some volatility, obviously, which you always will on news, but we didn't go anywhere. So literally not gone anywhere. So market not reacted at all to the Canadian. ADRs, we've had yen movement again, pretty much across the board. So yen movement to the downside there, a little bit downside there. Swiss, CAD, all gone down. A few ADRs hit. Not a lot of movement on the pound. So that news with Bailey and everybody talking today, we had a little bit of upside potential on the pound, which pulled back. We looked like we're going long again. Last hour, it's dropped. So again, market's flat today, totally flat. Not going anywhere. All sideways. So there's a few ADRs. I went through the ADRs this morning. All of the ADRs this morning have pretty much played out with a pullback, but no real movement. So these are all kind of really invalid now. If you look through them, New Zealand dollar CAD. Your reversal alert was there. You can see I got the short on there, but it's just pulled back. Not really gone anywhere. You could have got out on an ADR reversal on it. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. That came off of ADR. Say reversal that hasn't drawn properly there. So that came off of ADR there, but again, not really gone anywhere. So all these ADRs really are kind of just still in play. Nothing much has happened on them. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we are at the minute. RSIs, there's quite a few, but they're all 4 hours, and most of those are yen. So market's about to open. So we'll see where the US indices go. We've got 39 seconds to go. Fairly tight ranges pre-market. We're not going to get the NASDAQ on. Not going to get the S&P on. We will get the Dow. So the Dow is going to be the only pre-market today by the looks of things. We'll see where we go on that. We'll have a look at where we're going to head to on them once the market's open. So there you go. There's the Dow's in. So long and short in place for the Dow. No trades on those two. Initial ranges too small today. Not a lot of volume coming in as well by the looks of things at the moment, but we'll see in a sec. Almost got triggered short on the Dow there. Okay, short on the Dow. Nice bit of slippage there, and immediately pulls back. Lovely. So yeah, slipped on the Dow. NASDAQ's broken short. S&P's not gone anywhere. So just pulling back a little bit. Very, very, very sideways, as you can see. Look, for the last sort of few hours, we are literally just sitting in a range. No direction today. Tricky day. Afternoon, everybody. I haven't said hello to. Day trader, Mac. James, Dow came back to retest the previous resistance level. The Dow. Yeah, so we were back at that previous resistance. So we've tested it a few times this morning. Basically, it's where my order is, pretty much to the pip. That red line is that resistance. So we came and tested that level, obviously there, hit it again, had a little bounce, tested it again there. So it may be that we are looking to come up and test the high from yesterday. If that low breaks today, there's literally nothing much until we get down to this support. So we're looking at 3R to the downside roughly. But not going anywhere yet. On anything much. One sec. Bit of volatility coming in. So we've got home sales coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon. There's potential for a little bit of volatility potentially coming out of that. We've also got Lagarde speaking this afternoon at 4 o'clock, but the main focus is going to be FOMC this evening at 7. So it might be that we get a little bit of a rotational session on the US indices while we're waiting for FOMC. The market not willing to put a lot of money into that. We got no deviation or variance on the Canadian CPI figures, so unlikely we're going to get a lot of volatility off the back of that because the US hasn't moved off the back of the CAD movement. So we might have a bit of a whippy one today, but we'll see. So those ranges going in at the moment, the 5-minute opening ranges are also very tight. We'll see what we get. We've got another minute to go. It's slow, isn't it, today? So that initial 5-minute opening range so far is 365. So we will get the NASDAQ on. 5-minute opening range on the S&P, though, is the same as the pre-market. So there'll be no trade on that either. So we'll be able to get one on that. Shorts starting to work out. So there's your pre-market low just being tested on the Dow. Just wait for these 5-minute candles to close, and then we'll have a look at where we're potentially going with these. Okay, there we go. So NASDAQ's in, Dow's broken short, no trade on the S&P. Kind of like that NASDAQ not to break long. One hour on the Dow. Let's just have a look at what we've got coming up on the Dow. So this is an old monthly high. This old monthly high here, unlikely to be reactive. It's already been used a couple of times. Don't forget we are massively due a pullback on this at the moment, so I suspect that won't do an awful lot. Look at that. No movement on the NASDAQ. Look at that tight candle there. Zero movement. Weird market today. Okay, Dow's rejecting the lows at the moment, or that break. So let's look at where we're going. So Dow downside. The difficulty with the downside on the Dow today is obviously we've got multiple areas which could act as support on the way down. We've got this little area here, which is this sort of pink line, which is the big round number, 35,000. So big round numbers are psychological support and resistance levels. So they will get reactions at those levels, as we did there and there and there and there and there. Yeah, so 35,000 is going to be a strong downside support. Now we've got these multiple levels, dotted around as well. So if we can get a breakdown, 35,000 would be obviously the logical target to the downside. If that breaks, we'd be looking at previous day's low, which is obviously yesterday's low, and previous day's low, that is ADR. So if we break that 35,000 level, ADR is downside target. And then from there, obviously, if we break, it's going to be a big flush. Upside's going to be yesterday's high. S&P, we've got this sort of double top area, which is the previous day's high, which is not far away to the downside. That could act as a nice support. Failing that, we're looking at ADR, which is yesterday's low. Upside obviously is yesterday's high. NASDAQ's already broken down below support. So the NASDAQ, basically, we're looking at flushing down to the previous day's high, which is that level there, which is that propulsion gap from that accumulation. which is just before ADR today. So decent downside on all of them, but there's a lot of stuff in the way. So wow, look at this NASDAQ. Inside bar on the 5-minute opening range has absolutely no directional bias at all on that at the moment. Dow, we're out the lows, coming down into that old monthly level. So we'll see if we can get a push through that. I don't think that's going to be valid because it's been invalidated twice now. See where we can go. Just watch this candle play out, and then I'm going to have a look at the FX market. I just want to see if that NASDAQ breaks. It looks like it wants to go long. There we go. Long on the NASDAQ. Brilliant. One long, one short. That doesn't make the afternoon easy, does it? I'm just watching, this time with the idea of taking that short off. Just watching the NASDAQ. We might get hedged on the NAS. If this Dow can push down to target, it's probably going to drag the NAS and the S&P down with it. So just waiting to see which way we go. Tricky afternoon. Okay, so 5-minute candles in. We're just bouncing off that low at the moment. I'm just going to take one off on the Dow. That's just over 1R, 1.5R, and trail the second position. Just because we're finding some buyers on these two at the moment, and this seems to be struggling to get short at the moment. So I'm just worried about a bounce on the Dow that will give these two a really good pop. So I'd rather take one off, stop out, break even on the second there, and get that to run up to target, because there's a nice higher session that we can reach for there. And we are very long on these markets at the moment. Yeah, we're on a big bull run, aren't we? So not a lot of directional bias today. So that's locked in. We'll see where the NASDAQ goes. We'll come back to that in a minute. Have a look at the FX market. Right, Dow came back to retest previous resistance. Yeah, David, with such slow movement, could it be the rich are on vacation? That would be nice. Yeah, no, don't think so. They go on vacation just before Christmas, basically 2 weeks off. Afternoon, Tammy. We're still on about Black Friday deals. Yes. It's only $49, Tammy. But yes, there will be a Black Friday deal. A lot of hassle to set up, though, because MQL5 do not do offers. So it will be done. Don't worry. Dow does not seem to be dragging the other two down at the moment. No. Afternoon, Neo. That's what concerns me about the... these are pushing. Well, they're not pushing. They're just not dropping as that is. So either that is out of sync or they are out of sync, one or the other. That's always the quandary. When you get the Dow fly off in the opposite direction to the S&P and the NASDAQ, because these two move in sync, you never know whether this is in charge or they're in charge. One of them is going to be wrong. They will go the same direction most of the time. So it's a case of which is it. And the fact that this seemed very hard just to get 1R out the short side when this was literally not moving just doesn't look short to me. Looks like we're going to break. but we'll see. There's absolutely nothing happening at the minute. Could go either way. But if I lock in a hedge here, I've got the profit from the DAX this morning and now locked in 220 there. So I've got like nearly $800 locked in. So if that hedge is at $400 or so, 400 or 500, still profitable day. Tricky. Do you take 2 weeks off? I don't. Normally I take well, sometimes I do. Basically, when the market stops, I stop. So it all depends on what happens. Sometimes last year I didn't. Last year we basically didn't get the Santa rally. So the market was very volatile, but didn't rally. If we get the Santa rally usually stops at some point. And that's when I stop, basically. You suddenly get a day where it just doesn't move and it's rubbish. And then you get another day where it doesn't move and it's rubbish. And you're like, they've given up. And all you get is the algos. And you just get rotation. So the FX market goes flat. You can usually tell. It's usually the week before. It depends when Christmas falls. But usually we get a full, clear trading week before Christmas where the market is dead as a doornail. Sometimes it's longer than that. And obviously, depending on where Christmas and New Year falls, you have that week in between Christmas and New Year. That's not tradable most of the time. It's quite often very volatile, but there's no liquidity, so you get slipped all over the place. So I usually take the week in between Christmas and New Year off, and the week before. But if it's still flying, I'll be trading it. So I'm not going anywhere. So we'll see. S&P's broken out. Downside looks like that's going to get hedged. We'll see. Right, let's look at the FX. This feels like the Asian session, does at the moment, yeah. Right, ADRs we've kind of covered. So most of this is yen today. So CAD yen, ADR, we've got the reversal alert this morning, although it's a bit of an accumulation, but there is a W pattern reversal in there. We've got all this to profit take on, loads of propulsion gap targets to the upside. So there's loads of upside available on the CAD yen. Swiss yen's the same. Nice hit. We haven't got the reversal alert on the hourly yet, but straight into ADR, straight out of ADR. The euro yen, same pretty much as the Swiss franc, straight into ADR and out. That one's dropping a little bit more though this afternoon. And the US dollar yen. So we looked at this one in a bit more detail this morning. This has got more confluence than anything at the moment. So we've got that low, which is the intervention low, also happened to form last month's low. Then we've got the high from 3 months ago, which was a previous support resistance zone. That was also a propulsion gap. We hit that at ADR with RSI extended on the hourly and the 4 hourly, and we put in a W pattern reversal after a big drop that hasn't had a profit take. It just adds up to literally every possible, and there was a 3-bar reversal. Look, pull, pause, push. Absolutely spot on. Didn't get the reversal alert though. So this has just gone into an accumulation. So this looked, this morning when we looked at this, it just looks spot on. We were looking at it here thinking, this is beautiful. It's not gone anywhere in 4 hours. So your guess is as good as mine on that one. But it is extended on ADR. It's extended on the RSI on the hourly. It's extended on the RSI on the 4 hour below the 20 level. That's typically a level we bounce from a hell of a lot. When we get down there, we usually get a big one. So looks great, but stuck at the moment. The only other ADRs you've got is New Zealand dollar CAD, which we looked at. That one's already extended to the upside, and you've had the reversal on it, and the New Zealand dollar Swiss, which we've already covered as well. So that's done the same, but it's not gone anywhere. So those are your ADRs. These are also weeklies, a lot of these as well. So we're only on Tuesday. These were also lit up this morning. So by the start of London on day 2 of the week, we'd already done weekly ranges. So these are very extended. Good mean reversion possibilities on these, but this is off the back of the US dollar move. So that CPI figure really didn't help the US dollar. So it's still undecided as to whether or not that is going to continue to drop, that US. It's certainly not getting any steam at the moment, is it? So ADRs. Not really going anywhere at the moment. We still haven't broken out the 5-minute opening range on the NASDAQ. So Dow still hasn't broken short anymore either. So we're not going anywhere over there. I'll come back to that in a minute. So RSIs, it's all 4 hours. We did have a couple of hourlies today, this morning, but they've turned off and they were only extended to the 70-30 level. So no new entries today. That's the current exposure. That hasn't changed. It was pretty much exactly the same as it was this morning. Everything's kind of within tolerances, apart from the CAD Swiss, which hasn't gone anywhere. And it looks like it might go somewhere, but again, we haven't had the reversal alert on it yet. So looking for that to start its run up. And I've got an aggressive drawdown control position poised, ready to go on the hourly reversal alert as well. RSIs, you've got Aussie CAD on the 4 hour. We kind of looked at these this morning, so I'm going to whiz through them because they're the same as they were this morning, basically. But Aussie CAD extended on the 4 hour, just about extended up to that 80 level. So we'll be looking for a nice pullback off of this. So that move there is what you're looking for a profit take on. My average on this is there at the moment. So just about an ADR. I got an extra position on this yesterday. I took one manually and then the EA took one as well. So this morning, we looked like we were rolling over beautifully. We had two nice long wicks to the upside, two shooting stars. We're now putting an inside bar in. So we are still paused for potentially a drop down. So it looks pretty good for the downside. Just waiting for some bears to enter the market. Aussie US, same thing. Lovely long wicks to the upside this morning. Now we're pushing up again. Another double top going in. So that's just about extended on the 70. Not great. I'm short on that for 2 at the moment. We'll be taking a third on that if it pushes any higher. CAD Swiss, we know about that one. Massively extended to the downside. That was really extended. We've been embedded for a week on that now. So I'm just watching what's going on. The NASDAQ, still inside bar on the NASDAQ. The Dow's stuck fast. Just adjusting my Dow position. Not really going anywhere yet. Still. So yeah, CAD Swiss, nicely extended. We're just stalling out down here, waiting to see whether or not that CAD news is going to rally or not. We've looked at all the yens, but they're all very extended. 4 hour, beautiful downside wicks on the 4 hour chart at the monthly low. We're just looking for a pullback on this. So all these yens, if you're going to get into longs on them, just stick a fib on them. Look at the move. Shallow pullback, 38. Medium, 50. Deep, 61.8, 70. Somewhere around there. So you're looking for a pullback at least into there. There's no real obvious support levels that will act as resistance. So you've got these where we've stopped. We basically dropped, stopped and accumulated, dropped, stopped and accumulated, dropped, a little bit of an accumulation, drop. So obviously all you're doing is you're looking at each propulsion gap as a target. Yeah, so propulsion 1 is 38, propulsion 2, 61, and then 71.9. So all of these are due a pullback, but we don't know how much strength this yen is going to continue to have. So market needs to breathe, needs to profit take. So these all look good, but I'm sticking out of the yens at the moment. Again, lovely wicks to the downside. They all look beautiful, but just a little bit cautious of the yen at the minute. EuroCAD rolling over nicely. So we've got the start of a move on that. A little bit of euro weakness, a little bit of CAD strength coming through on the CPI figures, not massive, but looking for a pullback. Realistically, that entire move there needs a pullback. So my targets are roughly 50% just above that propulsion gap, above that potential double bottom support there. So that's really nicely extended to the upside above the 80 level. It's a second touch above the 80. We've got divergence on the RSI. Nice bearish divergence gone in. So all looks good for shorts. Euro US dollar. He messed today. This is really not getting anywhere at all. Where else gone? So I'm out of the Dow. Second position break even out of that propulsion gap. We are 20 minutes inside bar on the initial cash balance on the NASDAQ. It's just not going anywhere. Stuck fast, really stuck fast. Exactly the same as the DAX this morning. Look, we get that initial move and we just get stuck. It's like the market's waiting for something. What I don't know, but probably FOMC this evening. So Euro CAD, covered that one. Euro US dollar, big, nice, strong push to the upside. So I've got two shorts on this at the moment. Sorry, three shorts on this at the moment. First entry, you can't quite see it's there. That was 2 ADR in between the positions, and then I got a third on with just about an ADR, 3/4 of an ADR. So looking for a push back down into this low. Being a little cautious with the exit on this one. We could push down much further. Obviously, that is the previous resistance, which will potentially act as support. That is also 50% of the initial propulsion move caused by the CPI numbers. So I'm just being cautious with this US dollar because we hopefully will find out this evening at 7 o'clock what they're planning. But I'm looking for the US dollar to obviously retrace a little bit of this move, but we're going to need them to talk it up a bit. So we'll see what happens in the report this evening. But that's nicely extended. Again, divergence on that one. Pound CAD also extended. That move. Difficult. Either that or that for a pullback. Either way, you'd be watching that high, but it's only just extended above the 75, so not quite enough for me. This looks like it's rolling over. It's annoying. Well, say it looks like it's rolling over. We've got a bearish candle going in, but that looks like it's rolling over. That's now gone bearish. NASDAQ's still holding up though. Tough today. Not going anywhere really, are we? Pound CAD, so that's come off the monthly high. But that's not a very good monthly high. That is the monthly high. This is why we're getting a reaction there, because there will be limit orders placed at the monthly highs and monthly lows. So we're getting an initial reaction there. Not a great resistance though. That monthly is much better. So that area up there, which is 150 ADR, is a much better entry. By the time you get there, you'll be extended hopefully above the 80 level. So we'll be looking for that kind of move, which is exactly the one that I got into last time. Is that one there? So yeah, hopefully we get a little bit more of a push on that pound CAD, but it is extended now. It might just come down from where it is. We've also got the pound US dollar, which is pretty much the same as the euro US dollar. So we're looking for a pullback on this leg here. Potentially we're looking for a pullback on that entire thing back into propulsion. Just extended above the 75. Again, divergence, bearish at a monthly resistance, rejected. So it's all looking like this US dollar might have a little bit of a flurry, but we'll see. So that's pound US dollar. New Zealand dollar CAD, nicely extended. Yeah, big wicks to the upside. Got 3 shorts on this at the moment within ADR. So my target at the moment is down here. Little bit optimistic. So I'm just going to readjust targets on this. And it's that. That really should be the target. It's just a bit of a mess, that accumulation, isn't it? Might leave it down there for the minute. It's not going to get down there. Obviously, it's nearly 300 ADR, but this there's multiple levels here. That's probably your best level, which is it's not enough profit. That propulsion gap is a bit rubbish. It's breaking that high, but it had actually broken that high before that propulsion gap got put in. So it's not really a propulsion move. It's just part of a big day, basically. So that's not really a great target. I'd have to say that's anywhere basically from these highs here. So resistance, support. So from there, basically, is a decent target. We might get a bounce out of there. If it breaks that level, there's no reason why it won't come and test that, which is basically back down to propulsion. So I'm just going to monitor that and see where it goes. Very hard to pick a target on it, but extended to the upside, lovely wicks to the upside. So we've had a nice 5-minute reversal on that one today. As I say, it's not really gone anywhere as yet. And New Zealand dollar, US dollar, 4-hour RSI extension, lovely wicks again, 3 wicks to the upside. Lots of bears stepping in at this level, looking for a pullback on that leg down into there. Only just extended though. Again, divergence. All these US pairs have all got divergence on. It all looks like this US dollar wants to make a move, but can't quite get there. US dollar Swiss, I've got positions on this one. We're again totally sideways on this one at the minute. It's got 3 on, averages within ADR. So just looking for an ADR push back up into propulsion, into the CPI move. Again, FOMC needs to be bullish. And US dollar yen, as we know. Lovely bounce, but not going anywhere as yet. So there's all your RSIs and your ADRs covered. Nice reversal alert on the US dollar yen on the 15-minute and retest, but we're stuck. Everything's stuck today. NASDAQ's about to get hedged. This is going to ruin my afternoon, isn't it? Hedged on the NAS. Oof, not quite. Missed me by a pip. Now I'm hedged on the NAS. So, NASDAQ. It's a tricky one this afternoon. So upside target, I would look at 3R, which is your pre-market high. If it breaks up, if it breaks down, it's really hard. There's these highs here are the pre-market from yesterday, the pre-market high that got broken. So this was yesterday's pre-market high, which is previous day's high. That was retested, and that propulsion gap they rebought. So we will look for potential buyers in that area. That's only 1.5R though. For a hedge, if you get out 1.5R, you run the risk of this dropping all the way back down to these lows and getting into massive drawdowns. So that's too close to be taking it off. ADR is there, so the chances of it getting to yesterday's low is going to be quite tricky. So it's very hard to pick a downside on this today. But that being ADR, it makes sense to target that level. It's just not an awful lot of movement, is it? So we would rely on them pulling back on that move today. But that could be quite costly. Can't believe that's just hedged me. Look at it. We're not going anywhere, are we? I think I might just lock that in as a loss today. It's $400. I've banked 770. So locking in $300 odd for the day. I think I'm just going to leave that hedge. If we break to the upside from here, I'm happy to take off yesterday's high because we will get some limit orders triggering yesterday's high, which is also pre-market high. So we know there's sellers there. So all we need is enough to get a break even out of it from that high. A little bit like we got yesterday, this morning on the DAX. Look, so that movement off of the highs, that's all we'd need to get out. So I'm happy to take that. Downside, I just cannot pick a level to the downside. The only level I can see is there, and that area is just too close. We could get there in 10 minutes. That leaves the rest of the afternoon for potentially a drop, which is too risky. So I'm going to hope for an upside break. But we're 30 minutes in. It's not gone anywhere, is it? So not great today. Tammy. Thanks. That's a sure thing. I'm way too hungry for change. I've been busy with demo indicators since March, backtesting day in, day out. Now I want to be involved in the moves. Cool. Thomas, on the SAHEA, how long are the 5-minute range orders as breakout valid time-wise? Until they're triggered. So the orders go in and they sit there and they wait until they're triggered. There has never been an instance where they haven't triggered. You cannot have the market not go anywhere all day outside of a 10% ADR. Market has, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, has never traded within 10% of its ADR for an entire day. Even on Christmas Day, it would have enough in the algos to get out of 10% of its average daily range. So it will always trigger. You're never not going to trigger. Unless you change the settings, obviously, then they will just get shut out at the end of the session, whatever you've set your end of day timer to. Did you try putting the MT4s on a single core? I did. Not here, I didn't. I did on the VPS. I haven't looked at it since, so let's have a look. See if it's made any difference. Thinking about it. Yusuf Shim, what indicator is that? What indicator is what? I have many indicators. What is it? Which one? If only it was Lee's birthday every day, the indices will fall in line. Yes, that was lovely yesterday, wasn't it? That one? What do you mean? Yusuf, you can't say that one. Which one? That one? That one? That one? This? That? There's many indicators on this chart. You can't just say that one. This is lots. There's lots going on. Describe it to me. This doesn't seem to have done an awful lot. Look at this again. Look, H1 hedge set file, 33% this month, 16% drawdown. Having an absolutely blinding month again. The H4 MT4 seems to have been completely, I can't get into it. So yeah, that single core thing, I'm not sure that's made much difference. The blue one. So this is the support resistance propulsion indicator. I'll put a link in the chat for you. There you go. Is it true that you don't have to pay tax on your trading income until it's bigger than your main income? No. You have to pay tax on your trading income all the time. If you are spread betting, so if you use someone like IG, so these guys, you can do what's called spread betting. So, and this is only in the UK. So this is tax-free because it's classed as gambling. So basically what they are saying to you is, here's a chart. We're going to put a spread on the chart and you are going to bet which way it's going to go. And then you can get out wherever you like. Yeah, it's gambling. So you don't pay tax on gambling income in the UK unless your gambling income exceeds your income from employment. Then the UK government class this as your main income. Therefore, it is then taxable. So you can't get around it, basically. So you can if you want to spread bet. But as soon as you start earning more from your spread betting or betting in general, you know, you're same as betting on horses, football, tennis, Formula One. Yeah. If you put 100 quid down on a football match and you get it right and you win 10 grand, that's tax free. However, if you won 150 grand every year, they would go, hang on a minute, you're doing this for a living, aren't you? Or you're just very lucky. But either way, they tax you. You can't get away with it. Death and taxes. Going to happen. Right. So hedged on the NASDAQ. Nothing much I can do with this one today. Look at this S&P. This market is absolutely dead at the moment. So S&P, if you wanted to, that has formed a nice potential range there for a breakout. So you could use that range for a breakout today. That's actually bigger than 10% of ADR. So what is that? So if you want to take a manual on the S&P today, that's 63 pips. So that range there is pretty good for a break. If the market decides to go anywhere today, it's looking very heavy on the Dow. But, I mean, the Dow's stuck as well. 25, 30 minutes sideways. We're not going anywhere today. This thing is totally frozen at the minute. Look at the DAX. DAX is literally, it's where we opened. That's where we are. Not tradable today. A load of rubbish. So yeah. What about having a small IG account and copying your main account to it? Yeah, you can do if you want to. Talk to your accountant. If you've got a small account and you're trading a main account, you could maybe not pay tax on that small bit, I guess. If the taxman caught you, it's a little bit like setting up two companies in the UK doing the same thing to spread the tax burden. You can't do it. Yeah, if I set up a web design company that I used to be having the web design company. If I set up a web design company doing web design, and then I set up another company alongside it also doing web design, the government would turn around and go, well, this is one company, isn't it? You can't have two companies doing exactly the same thing. It's one company. Just because you want to spread some of the tax out over here and some of the tax out over there to make it more tax efficient, we're not having it. So if you set up a trading account here and trade, and then copy this over to a spread betting account, which takes exactly the same thing and makes the same percentage return as this one does, they're going to look at it and go, well, you're just trying to not pay tax. If they catch you, and IG have to declare by law your income from trading, as all trading brokers do, which is why they ask for your national insurance number, your passport, and your driving license when you sign up with them, because they have to report. So you won't get away with it. Don't try. The best case scenario is you get a small fine, not a big one. It's not worth doing. Gotta pay tax. Right, we're stuck, can't we? So I'm going to leave this afternoon. I'm just going to take that hedge loss. There's nothing I can do with it, basically. So just knocks off about $200 off the day profit. But we ain't going anywhere. So I will watch this if it breaks short. I will watch this area, which is basically 158.82, 158.68-ish, something like that. So just watch that high and that old high there. So just this area, basically. Propulsion gap on the 5-minute chart. ADR, yeah, somewhere around here, potentially, I think we might get a reaction, but I need to see the reaction start. IC Markets tells HMRC what I made. Yep. Yep. Why do you think they send you a tax report every month? You know, every month you get a statement. Yeah. You're not the only one that gets that statement. Read your contract. Whether they decide to do anything about it will decide on how much money you make, obviously. You've got to make a profit. But it's all taxable. All income is taxable. Yeah. Everything you do, if you buy a house, buy a second house and sell that second house, you've got to pay tax on it. You have to pay tax on everything. Everything you do in the UK, you have to pay tax on. If you don't want to pay tax in the UK, set yourself up as a limited company overseas as a trading organisation and register with a professional account with a broker. Then you have to pay corporation tax in the country that you're in. There is no way around it. You don't get to earn money for free unless you go and live in Dubai. But then that costs you 10 times more than living anywhere else because it's Dubai. So if you want to know about proper structuring, speak to your accountant. You can set up limited companies. There's all sorts of things you can do to make your trading more tax efficient. But I would say until you get to the point where you are making almost as much money as your income, your normal income from your trading, then you're going to need to start thinking about it. If you're making $5,000 a year extra, it's probably not even going to get noticed. If you suddenly go from earning $30,000 a year to earning $45,000 a year trading and $30,000 a year, there's alarm bells going to trigger somewhere, aren't there? Speak to somebody in the HMRC. They'll probably tell you what the alarm bell trigger level is. Well, probably they won't actually, because that would be pointless, wouldn't it? Because all we would do is earn up to that alarm bell and never trade above it. It's not going to happen, is it? Or your name is Donald Trump. Yeah, then you don't have to pay tax. Or you just lie and hope you don't get caught. But hey, I'm not going to become president of the US, so it's not going to happen, is it? We ain't going anywhere today. This is a nightmare. Look at it. You can get almost guarantee whichever of those you get out, it's going to go the other way today. So it looks, I was just going to say, it looks more bearish than bullish. And then I just looked at the Dow. That's not bearish, is it? We're stuck. Nothing much we can do with that today. So basically, all the positions are just flip-flopping at the moment. So Aussie dollar CAD, I'm just going to run through my positions at the minute. NASDAQ's out the lows now. See what the Dow's up to. So bear with me one sec. So yeah, NASDAQ's just tried to break out those lows. Everything else is still looking bullish, though. I'll have a look at that in a second. So Aussie dollar CAD on short at the moment. Today we've gone absolutely nowhere. So looking for a push back down into those highs. Ideally deeper, but I will monitor that one as we drop. Aussie US, 2 positions on. Again, all these positions that I'm in, I've been in for, over a week now since the CPI run. So first entry there, second entry there. If we push up any further today, there'll be a third going on. Looking for just to push down. CAD Swiss been in for weeks. So did drawdown control on that yesterday with the profits off the oil trade. Have got an aggressive on ready to profit from basically a pullback on that move. Euro CAD, 3 shorts. Just looking for pullback on the whole thing. Again, need some Canadian dollar strength. Need oil to move and help the CAD. But Euro CAD, that's nice extension. Or was a nice extension yesterday as well on the hourly. But that entire move, looking for a pullback on that. Euro US 3 on, again, in that since CPI. So that was a CPI spike. We didn't get the pullback. So accumulated, pushed. So 3 entries on that one. New Zealand CAD. Again, 3 on that short. Looking for a pullback. And US dollar Swiss. Stuck. All stuck. Basically, since the CPI move, we've literally had 3 to 4 days sideways, a day of rally and sideways. So none of this is doing anything at the moment. So just flip-flopping around between sort of 6 to 8% drawdown at the minute. So just waiting for some moves to start. So FOMC this evening, 7 o'clock. That's our next major news. Home sales came out as a negative. Not done anything. We've got Lagarde speaking for the euro at 4. Might say something, might not. But that's where we're potentially going to get our first moves at 7 o'clock this evening. So we'll see what happens there. But it isn't a press conference. There is no interest rate with it. It is just the meeting minutes. And if the meeting minutes don't give any forward guidance as to interest rate change, there won't be any movement. We'll probably get a whipsaw, but not a lot else. Markets just sold off. Okay, S&P almost broke the lows. It's thinking about it. NASDAQ's just put a new low in. There we go. S&P's out the lows. So if you took that range break I identified earlier, you are now short. So you see how close this is. Yeah, that's one candle. Another 5 minute, big 5 minute candle. We are already at ADR, pretty much those lows. So it's a really risky place to take a trade off, because this thing, if this wants to sell off now for a couple of hours this afternoon and you're getting out here, you've got all that drawdown that you've got to sit through. So it's a very risky exit, this. It might work. You know, it's got 50-50 shot, isn't it? But, and it is ADR. But it's, we're even before the hour and a half marker. If we got down to there, an hour and a half into the session, I'd probably be a little bit more comfortable getting out. But if this gets down here in the next sort of 10 minutes or so, I'd be a little wary. It's $400. It's not worth taking a massive risk on today, especially as I've made money on the DAX. So All right, I will leave it there. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to look at. But basically, a bit of a slow session so far today. I think we're waiting for FOMC. So not a lot we can do until we get some news. Overnight, we've got Bullock speaking tomorrow morning as well. So again, second batch of Aussie news. We had the monetary policy meeting minutes, which moved the New Zealand dollar this morning. We've got Bullock speaking again tomorrow morning. And then we've got the ECB review and then the autumn statement. That's about 12 o'clock. So we might find the European markets are a little bit slow tomorrow while we're waiting for the autumn statement to come out. But we'll see. I'm not sure that really is going to affect the DAX. So we should be right for movement tomorrow. So I will be back tomorrow morning at 7:50 and we will look then at what's going on. David, banked 3% today with sales on the DAX and the NAS. Good job. Well done, you. I'm about the same, I think. No, I'm not actually. About 1.5 at the moment. Day's not over, though. Might go somewhere on the NASDAQ. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session. Tomorrow afternoon, 2:20 for New York. Anything you need, come in Telegram. I'll be in there. Other than that, have a good day. Good luck with FOMC if it decides to move. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.